So I get this question a lot from people. Basically, what classes are the best to play with high ping? It actually turns out a lot of people have higher ping, like over 100 ping, which makes it kind of harder to play certain classes because some classes require really fast-paced reaction times, and if you have high ping, then you know that's not even possible. Of course, the whole game is reaction time based, and you can't be lagging a ton, but there are some classes that are a little bit easier to play with high ping. So today we're just going to be going over the few classes I think are the best ones to play if you do have high ping. Because a lot of people think they can't even play Blade and Soul if you have high ping, and there are a few classes you can play. So you don't have to completely quit the game. You can play them. So we'll be going over them pretty quickly. So first one we got is the Force Master. So basically any ranged class is going to be way easier to play with high ping. And it's just a simple fact because you're farther away from damage. So if you're playing a melee class, lots of times you have to have very fast reaction times because the boss is hitting everything in that range. And if you don't dodge it, you're going to die very quickly unless the boss, is like super easy or something like that. So playing a ranged class kind of helps you not worry so much because you can stay farther back and just focus on DPSing the boss down. Of course, there's some things you will have to dodge, but it's much less stressful when you have high ping to play a ranged class because it just makes it a little bit easier on you. Also, the Force Master is really strong DPS. Like, their DPS is really high. And so if you have high ping with them, you literally can just blast out combos and you'll be doing a lot of damage and you'll barely get hit, and with high ping it won't really matter. So the Force Master is definitely a class I recommend. They're also really easy to quest with, so if you don't like questing, you can finish the level 50 storyline within like a day or two if you really put some hours into it. So next class we're going to be looking at is the Summoner. So the Summoner is known by a lot of people as the most easiest class in the game to play. And also the friendliest class in the game to play. So this is a very new friendly player class, and coming with that, it's also a very high ping player friendly class, simply because they're just very safe to play. You rarely ever will die with a summoner. That's why they're really good for new players or people with high ping. They also have heals for the party. They have a cat called a familiar that can tank for you. So it's very hard to die with a summoner, which makes it a really nice class to play with high ping. It's also ranged, so that also just makes it even better. So the Summoner also does pretty decent DPS too. They're just an all-around really safe and good class to play. So I definitely recommend playing them if you want a class that's super safe, can heal, and you just won't die with it. So that's one of the other classes. Next class is the Warlock. So again, another ranged class. The Warlock is actually a pretty easy class to play. Really, the only thing you need to really do is just make sure you use Soulborn in parties. So basically, just stay far back from range, and all you gotta do is summon your Thrall, and then use Soulborn, and basically you've done your job as a Warlock. All you have to do is give that buff to the party, and you basically just done everything you need to do, because that buff is the most powerful buff in the game. Called Soulburn, and it's very powerful for the whole party. So if you have high ping, again, just like the Force Master, you can stay far back and just DPS because you're ranged, and then all you gotta do is use your Soulborn whenever you can. And you've done your job as a Warlock, and you do a lot of DPS. So overall, this is another great class. Those are the three classes that are the best for high ping. Also, I'll go over real quickly what classes you don't want to play, just so you know. So one of the main classes you don't want to play is a Kung Fu Master. All of their combos are literally reaction time based, and they're very hard to play. Their combos are kind of complex, and if you're not right on the second for every combo of their chain skilling, then you'll mess up the combo and not be able to do what you need to do DPS wise. So if you have high ping, they are definitely probably the worst class in the game to play, simply off the fact your DPS will be really hindered by your high ping. Also, you might not be able to tank as well. PvP, you'll be playing very bad with high ping. I actually had a friend who played Kung Fu Master since the start of the game, And towards the end of the year of 2016, he switched over to Summoner because he just couldn't play the Kung Fu Master anymore because his ping was too high and he was just losing way too much DPS on his rotations. So Kung Fu Master, unfortunately, if you have high ping, you don't want to play it. I'm sorry if it's a class you really want to play, but if you have high ping, it's definitely not a class you want to play because you'll be very frustrated and you'll be really hindering your party and yourself. Second class you don't want to play with high ping is the Assassin. Much like the Kung Fu Master, they're very ping reliant on their skills. Almost all their combos are very fast reaction time based, like the Kung Fu Master. And if you mess up within any second, you'll just ruin the whole combo of Assassin. So also their DPS skills, you need fast reaction time. So this class, just like the Kung Fu Master in almost every way, is not good if you have high ping, and I definitely recommend not even trying them if you have high ping. And last but not least, we'll also look at the Blade Dancer. So the Blade Dancer is one of those classes that are not as bad with high ping. You can still play them, but the main problem with them is that their animation canceling and their lightning draw stance is really hindered if you have high ping because you can't react to it correctly and you can't animation cancel correctly. So if you're playing Blade Dancer, if you have like high ping, it definitely will hurt your DPS. Not as bad as the Assassin or Kung Fu Master, but it will hinder it. So I definitely recommend probably not playing them unless you really love the class and you're okay with losing some DPS. And one class I did forget about actually was the Gunslinger. This is another great class with high ping because literally your only job is to stand far back and just do as much damage as possible. And right now they actually have the most, I would say the highest DPS in the game easily. So literally you just stand far back and you just spam as many buttons as you can. They're very easy to play. So if you have high ping with the Gunslinger, honestly, I recommend this class too. I actually forgot about it because it's so new. My bad on that one. But yeah, the Gunslinger is another class. If you want really high DPS and you don't want to worry about any mechanics and you just want to kind of chill with your high ping and do a lot of damage, Gunslinger is definitely for you, and that's probably why we see a lot of them. Also, it doesn't hurt that they're just freaking cool, like they have guns and stuff. Their skills are really flashy and really actually beautiful to look at, like their fire build. Really like their abilities. So overall, those are the classes that are good with high ping, and then I also went over the classes that are bad with high ping. So hopefully this kind of helped you out, and if it did, make sure to let me know in the comments. And thank you guys for watching.